First of all, thank you all for joining me here today. It's Alicia, and welcome back to the Eat Me podcast. I am beyond excited because I have someone that is near and dear to my heart here on the podcast today. Angela Burchett is here with me on the podcast. I'm just over the moon, and I'm just beyond excited because Angela is a very beyond talented actress, singer, all the things. And so she is very busy now. So I'm so grateful that you took the time to talk with me in the midst of you doing all these wonderful things. So thank you for being on the podcast. I'm really
Of
excited for
course,
this
girl.
conversation.
Of course.
Oh my gosh, I'm really excited. I asked Angela to be on the podcast today because she and I we have a few things in common, but one thing that we've kind of like talked about over the years is we both have been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And with every person that is diagnosed, it varies in terms of symptoms, recovery times, like all the things can be different, but the diagnosis is still what it is. And so I'm happy that she's able to share her story as it relates to her working through multiple sclerosis as a performer, and also what she is doing to sustain herself as someone who has been diagnosed. So all that to say, all my blabbing, right? They want to hear you, not me. But one, Angela, when did you find out if you were diagnosed with multiple sclerosis? And like, what were the signs and symptoms that you saw before you even knew about the diagnosis?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed officially in October of 2008.
Mm,
And at the time, that specific time, I was on a layoff from a tour, like a few months layoff. And I was scheduled to go back to the tour like a week or two after the diagnosis. So
mm,
that was very rattling because your first thought is, well, what do I do now? On top of the fact that the symptoms that I was experiencing started maybe 3 to 6 months before that. And
mm-hmm.
within that, and I was on the road, and for part of it, I was in another country. I was on the other side of the world.
Right.
When it got at its peak, I was in uh, China,
Mm-hmm.
and my onset for me was started in my feet and leg, and that
Mm,
was the heaviness, the tingling. And at first I couldn't even really like describe it. Like my parents would say, "Well, what's wrong?" And I'm like, I don't know how to describe it because I didn't know much about MS, so I didn't even have that to attach it to. I just
right.
felt like, and I've been a fluffy girl my whole life. So me and my parents just thought just because maybe you're out of shape or whatever, your circulation.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, to this day, my parents still kind of go that route. But that's
Right.
another story for another time. With my big grown self. But yeah, I started with tingling in my left foot, just like
Mm-hmm.
that feeling when you sit on your foot and it falls asleep. It felt like that, but like all the time.
Mm,
And then it just kind of crept up my leg over the course of a few months. But when I really started to know something was wrong was when I would like lose feeling, not
mm,
completely, but like lose feeling in one of my legs. And then I started losing feeling in both my legs. And it would be kind of it almost felt more like weakness than immobility. But
right.
then, as you know, MS, it just gradually. And at its peak, it was literally just from the waist down in an instant would be paralyzed, basically. I couldn't feel them at all. If I fell down, I would fall. And if I fell the wrong way, I would like, my legs would be like kind of contorted because I couldn't feel them. So I couldn't feel,
Right.
the knee being bit back too far or whatever if I fall a certain way. And it was very scary because, again, I didn't know what MS was. And I had, of course, before I started falling, I started going to see doctors, orthopedic doctor, podiatrist. And I'm just thinking more external. I'm not thinking anything about it's got to do with, I'm thinking muscle and tendons. I'm not thinking
Right.
brain and neurological. I'm not thinking that. And long story short, it took about four different types of doctors, but I went to a sports medicine doctor. And
Hmm.
she said, "Have you ever thought about going to a neurologist?" And I said, "No. Why?" Well, you've exhausted all the other things, and this could be a neurological problem. My silly self was like, neurological? Is that like you off in your mind? Like you be saying wild stuff? Like, I didn't know what it was.
You calling me crazy? What is happening?
Some type of mental problem, and that's what this is. Okay, okay. Hey, maybe it's my mind is ate up, and I need to go get a pill or something. So finally, I went to a neurologist, some random old man on the Upper East Side. Told him what was going on. He said very little. He said, "I'm going to give you a script. I'm going to go this and that." Went and had MRI. So now I'm panicking
Mm,
because, okay, why are they looking at my brain, my neck, my spine? Like, what is going
right,
on? Meanwhile, I'm like talking to my parents about it and the few people that I'm working with because they're the ones who see it. And I'm like, y'all, this is bad. Like, I can't walk anywhere. And I live in New York City where
right,
at the time I wasn't driving. So I have to depend on my legs to get me anywhere. And like,
right.
I'm falling down in the subways, I'm falling down on the street, I'm falling into stuff because
Mm,
there's nothing to hold on to. And, all this is happening. So the mental anguish of it, on top of not knowing what it is, was a lot. And then I finally got the MRIs back, met the doctor, and he said, "So you see all these little white spots on your
mm,
brain?" I said, "Yeah." He was like, "That is what is called multiple sclerosis." And I'm still stuck on stupid, like, I don't know what you mean. And he honestly was like, but your weight and your pre-diabetes, I'm more concerned with that than this. But I'm like, sir, hold, hold.
right.
Everyone stop moving, please. We are not talking about something else. You need to explain to me what this is. So he basically explained to me what it was really quickly. And he said, "I know you're a performer. You're going to need to quit that. You need to find you a desk job or something that's going to put you in a chair because it's dangerous right now with your condition. You could fall, you could break bones, you could, really hurt yourself." And so I walked out of the doctor's office, walking down the street by myself
Mm,
in October of 2008. Like, I literally just, tears are streaming down my face. I don't even know who to call.
mm-hmm.
I'm struggling to walk, but I got to get home. I got to get somewhere. And there my journey began with this
Mm.
thing.
And so from there, did you start taking any type of like steroids or like did you like go that route or what did
Now,
you
now
do
this
in
is
this
getting
whole
ready to get deep now. Okay, so I don't know who the listeners are, but
right,
this might be a little bit out the box for
right.
folks. And honestly, this many years later, I don't know that I would go this route if I were, say, having a flare up or something. Or maybe this route or something similarly, because my beliefs and my thoughts about Christianity have changed greatly since then.
Yeah.
But at the time, so I feverishly start researching and asking people. And, I don't know if you experienced this, but once you find out you have it, it's like all of a sudden you find out all these people around you that you had no idea they have it, or their mom has it, or their sister
Mm-hmm.
has it, or their dad or somebody. So now all of a sudden I'm inundated with what this is. And
Mm,
okay, well, does it mean I'm gonna die? And you go through all those things, and like, okay, if you telling me that the medication doesn't fix it, then what does the medication do? And the way they explain how it works. So all of that was just too much for me, and I was
right.
still very much in my Pentecostal bag. So I said, "No, we taking this to God in prayer." So,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna kid you not, I went back on the road. And I was very fearful. What I told the company, they were beyond supportive. They brought
Oh.
in, I was scheduled to leave the tour like months later, but so they brought my cover in early to
Mm-hmm.
just travel with us in case I needed to be out. They were very accommodating. And so I'm on the road. So, I'm really I think what stopped me from the medication initially was I was on the road. So I wasn't
Right.
out traveling. I mean, I wasn't home where I could go see a doctor. And so my father, maybe a month or so before the diagnosis, I was home in Detroit, and he gave me this
Mm-hmm.
little booklet that I can't think of the name, but it's basically like all these scriptures that are like
Mm,
literally the instructions are like, say them over your body like medicine.
mm,
And it was this thick, tiny.
right.
And they had chapters for like blood issues, neurological issues, cancer, everything. And they had
Right.
these scriptures for about 3 months straight every day. like medicine 3 or 4 times a day. I would just read out loud, read out loud, read out loud, and just
Mm,
speak these. And I mean, one could say it wouldn't have mattered if it was scriptures from the Bible, passages from the Quran, or from wherever. It
right.
was a affirmation, a thing I was putting out into the world and saying, and my body wasn't hearing it. And
Mm,
you can
yeah.
call me whatever you want to call me, but that I started doing that, right around the diagnosis.
Huh.
By just February of the following year, I was having very minimal issues.
Mm,
Um, and to top it off, and from the moment of the diagnosis to this day, I have never taken one injection,
wow.
not one pill. Yes, I've had steroids over the years, but not for that. It's been
Right.
for, sinus infections, voice things, but specifically for MS, I have chosen the route of non-medication. But before
Right.
everybody's like, wait a minute. In this journey, there was a moment, probably about 2018, where I was going to start beta ferron
Yeah.
because I had been on tour and a second time, and the MS showed kind of back up heavy, but differently. Like my balance was really, really bad. My memory, it was hard for me to remember lines, like little things, and
Mhm.
and just off, and it was so frustrating, and I was going to start it, and my father actually was supportive, which he normally would be like, oh, no, 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 and he was like, okay, I feel like if you feel like that's what you want to do. And then right when I was about to start, something in me was like, don't do it. Just hold
Mm,
off a little longer. Mostly because I was thinking about, that medication is expensive. And if you don't have your equity weeks anymore, how
right.
is that going to work? And that also did inform over the years. Do I really want to start down this road? Because, I don't work a corporate job where I can say, I'm going to always have insurance and those things. And I just felt like, let me try some other more natural ways to deal with this, because the reality is, without the medication, I will have symptoms at some point to some
Right.
degree of severity or another. So let's just do this until we need to revisit. And so far, I have been so blessed that I've not taken any medication, but I have had to make some big lifestyle changes over the years, and I think they're working because I've been doing pretty good.
I love it. Like seriously love to hear that because similarly, that's what I did. I decided to, well, one, trust in the faith that, same with you. Like when I was diagnosed in 2010. And, of course, my family is, we're at church and everyone's praying over me and all that
Yeah.
type of stuff. And then I also took the route of just focusing on my diet
Hmm.
and just saying, listen, like, if this doesn't work, then yes, I
Hmm.
will consider all the medication. But I didn't want to go that route because, like you said, especially at the time that I was diagnosed, I didn't have insurance. Like I was looking crazy. Like let's
Uh-huh.
just say, like broke. I was going through nursing school, food stamps, welfare. That was me at that time,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
barely making it. And so it's like, how am I going to be able to afford this? You know what I'm saying? Like, so trust me, I hear you loud and clear on that for sure. Like seriously, and I love the fact that you brought it up in that way because I think some people don't know that there are alternatives to their healthcare.
Yes.
We're so reliant on Western medicine and what
Yes.
it offers us, and that's fine. Listen, I'm not taking away from that from anybody because it does help certain people, and if that's what works for you, great. But for a lot of people that want to try something else, there are options, and that's why I'm glad we're having this conversation because I think a lot of people just feel like, okay, I have no choice. I have to take this because the
Right.
doctor told me. Like, what am I gonna do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So yeah,
Western medicine is not designed there. It's designed to push you down the pharmaceutical lane, right
hmm
or wrong. That's the
right,
design. And so unless you're going to a medical doctor that is also, open to naturopathic methods and homeopathic stuff like that, which is rare, in the big scheme of things, you kind of have to go in expecting that their first line of defense is going to be what they know and
right.
how they're trained. These medications have been developed, da 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 da. This is what you say. Because also they don't want to put themselves in a position where they feel like, well, we're, promoting something, you get worse, and then now the backlash is on us,
Yep.
because pharma is big business, and it's all about, people want to steer clear of coming out of money,
Yep.
including the pharmaceutical companies. So I don't fault them, because in a way, like, what else are you going to say, when someone comes in with this diagnosis? But like you said, there is a whole nother world and culture of natural medication and holistic ways to approach things, through food, through environment, through,
Yep.
getting rid of the chemicals that we, like to put in our body, like alcohol and,
Yep.
drugs and all these things that are not helping. Doctors are not really, they feel like that's not my lane. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do to keep my job and make my money. So,
Yep.
you know.
No, that's true. And the thing is, like, because I work in healthcare as well, I completely I know where they're coming from.
Mhm.
I know what that education looks like because at going into nursing, not that like I'm not a medical doctor, but I had similar education around like how to care for people, medication regimens and all that stuff. And so when you're not taught the nutritional route or stress reduction or environmental challenges that people could be experiencing, like knowing how to educate people around to how to eliminate those things, all you're gonna do is push drugs. It is what it is. So, that's my soapbox on the
Mhm.
medical field. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like now that you are in a space where you are, managing things, and performing, how is that working right now? In your world, or is it are there more accommodations that you need, or are you just kind of like working like you would normally work?
For the most part, I work like I would normally work.
Mhm.
With the exception of a couple of moments, I'm not really asked to do things that directly affect the symptoms, or things that may go, be cause a flare up or
Right.
go wrong. But I have in recent years gotten much more open in my work environments about my diagnosis and
Yeah.
what it means and what I need. And
Mm.
I think that's just just actors in general, because of the way our business is designed, sometimes are afraid to ask for what you need, because
Yeah.
you feel like, I'm lucky to even have this job. And, there's so many people that want to do this, and blah, 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 blah. I don't want to make a fuss. I don't want to, and for me, I was in a situation where I did advocate for myself regarding MS, and I did not have the best response. It was a one-off, and since then I've not experienced that again. But it was very, it made me kind of run back in my shell. But
Yeah.
I said, you know what, screw that. Like, there are people that secretly live with this and don't want to talk about it, or are scared, or they have something wrong and they don't even know that that's what it is.
Right.
And so if they see me doing what I'm doing and hear me doing what I'm doing and say, well, she's open about it. She advocates for herself. She doesn't, let anybody try to use that against her. Then why can't I?
Yeah.
But it took me a while. It took me years to even, like, hashtag MS sucks. Like, I would be scared to even do that, because then I
Right.
knew that would open up a door of, like, well, what does that mean? And why did you say that? And do you have it? And blah, 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 blah,
Right.
and you go through all those things. But yeah, for the most part, I have small little things, accommodations. Like, for example, in The Preacher's Wife, which is the show I'm doing right now here in Atlanta at the Alliance Theater. If you're in the area, come on down. We're here till June 16th.
Yay!
Um,
I'm so excited.
oh, it's the best. I'm having a ball. We have a show tonight, and I'm gonna do a little exercise and then get myself over there.
Right.
But for example, probably the biggest issue I have in shows, any show, is balance problems. So
Yeah.
if I'm on something that's off the ground, that doesn't have something I can touch, like a rail or a wall, it sends my MS into a tailspin. It
Yeah.
makes me feel like my body don't know if it's standing up, I'm on my head, I'm laying down. And
Mhm.
so, like in this show, for example, there's a time when I'm standing like on the second level in the air on a set piece, and I'm out, like, extended off of it. So basically, if I look down, under me is just the way down is the stage.
Right.
Normally, like, if there weren't like railings there, I wouldn't be able to be up there. And so, like, in the past, I've been in that situation, and I've had wonderful directors that just say in the staging process, Easy. We won't put you up there. Put somebody else there. Or we can shift you here so that we can still do the storytelling, but we don't need you up there feeling like you about to fall over the thing or you fall back or but it's a very odd sensation. Um and The Color Purple was really tough because we stood on a lot of chairs that all the
Yes.
time in the show. And there are no
It's okay.
I tried to turn
You're
everything off.
fine.
Um
It's fine.
but yeah, so I've been, like I said, I've been really blessed that I've not had to have anything major change or anything. Just the biggest thing has been on every show to like work up the courage to pull my stage manager aside day
Mm.
one and my director day one and say, here's the deal. And I give them a quick spiel and 9.8 times out of 10, I've been met with nothing but support
Oh,
and suggestions and creative ways to make sure I'm safe.
I love that. I love that. And
Yes.
I'm glad that you like brought us right into that you're doing The Preacher's Wife in
Yeah.
Atlanta. So walk us through what has been happening. I am really excited for y'all because well, before we even go there, y'all, I we were talking before I hit record, and I said we were just talking about like just the show and everything, and the hope is for most shows that are like at theaters like this, the hope is to come to Broadway, you know, and we both listened to a podcast called The Read. If you don't listen to The Read, do yourself a favor and listen. It's
Yes.
everything. But anyway, they put out a plug for the show, and I feel like because a lot of people listen to The Read, and I think that's going to help you guys more than anything. But whatever. Let me go through like what's been happening.
Yeah.
Like, what's this process been like? I know it's been amazing because Titus Burgess. Now, is he directing or is he doing anything like that, or what's going on with that as well?
Well, no, Titus is the composer of the score and lyrics for the show.
Yeah.
So he is not affiliated with the show as a performer, which
Right.
a lot of people do assume that he's in it, or they'll say, "Oh, Titus Burgess," like they totally don't even pay attention to the credits. And
Right.
oh my God, like he's got me saying, I'm like, no, he's not. And it's because he wants to walk into a different place in his career,
Mm,
and
right.
everybody who knows Titus Burgess knows on how amazing of an actor and singer and funny guy he is. But not a lot of people know how talented and brilliant of a musician he is
Right.
because he has spent most of his career, elevating and bringing to life other people's work. And now
Mm,
he gets to bring his own to life. And I think it was very smart of him to step away from it in that regard, both for his mental health, but
right.
also to make the lines of delineation clear.
Right.
You can be as super talented as a singer and an actor and not be singing and acting, as part of
Right.
your involvement in a project. My history with The Preacher's Wife is quite a long one. I'm probably one of the few that has been with it since the absolutely beginning, like when there was only one or two songs. And no book, no anything. It was just, I want to make an adaptation of The Preacher's Wife. And can you record? I wrote this song and I want to just get it recorded. I need a female voice to sing it and I need to hear it, which is, and the song is still in the show. It's called Far Away. Yeah, and it started there. And I just been so blown away by his genius and how he's such a great storyteller, both in the words but also in the music. Though he's not the book writer, I feel like you could take his score and take the notes away and just read the lyrics as a script because it's just so good. And I've just watched him over the years. We've done, gosh, so many workshops of this, and to watch it grow and change and him to just lose his nights of sleep just sitting at the
Very.
piano reworking and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting and doing this and doing that. And he happens to be a longtime friend of mine, so outside of the working part, I've also gotten to see like what goes on in the minds of creative, avant-garde, brilliant geniuses like him, where
Right.
your life isn't on hold. Like, he's still doing all his performer work and whatever else business stuff he has going on, and living his life and
Yeah.
dating or being in a relationship or blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Going to visit his mom, like all these types of things. And so to watch that story happen as a friend has been like, wow,
Right.
amazing. We, alas, are here in Atlanta. It took so much blood, sweat, and tears, but we are here, and it has been amazing to be a part of an original piece.
Uh-huh.
For us in this business, that's the dream, for you to get to
Yes.
originate something. I just me personally in the last year, I'm originating two shows that will probably transfer to Broadway. And it's a different thing when you are part of the like they're figuring out things based off of what you bring, who you bring
Right.
to it. And that has been so rewarding for me as an actor because we don't get to do that very often. It's
Right.
already thought out and they've already had their top picks of the people for the roles, and now I'm just stepping in, keep the party going.
Right.
So for people to actually think about how I create with my voice and how my voice works and to use that as they're building the character. I play Delphine Lewis in the show, which is basically like if you took two of the church ladies from Color Purple, married them to two deacons and put them in church clothes, that's what it's giving. And yeah, and to now up until Atlanta, we've only had our imaginations because we just did
Mm.
the reading. So we were standing in front of stand singing, and someone's reading the stage direction. To see all those versions of even that, and then to now the world that we've had to imagine is now a real world with
Wow.
the church and the house and the Christmas trees and all the things and the magic that's in the show that we had to imagine to actually see it and be a part of it and to hear the audience go, or to watch people sing along at the end of the show because the
Mm.
song, the meat song of the show is just easy to grab and it's so inspiring and it's something that just makes you just go in yourself and just
Mm.
reassure yourself, and to watch black, white, older, younger kids watch the show and they all are just living and getting what they wanted to get out of it and more. It's just been exhilarating. And it's why I get up and do this every day. It's why I've been, we don't have money and
Yep.
we I'm gonna eat at the house and I'm not gonna go out because I'm gonna, I'm not subletting my place. I got to pay my rent and all, while I'm away. And because the passion for it
Mm-hmm.
just makes why we do this makes sense. We have 2 weeks left here, and I'm trying to savor every show, and just enjoy it until we close this chapter of the book and get ready to open another one whenever that will be.
It's exciting. And there's going to be another chapter. I am for
Oh
sure.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I am so excited for you. I'm excited for the whole cast and for Titus, for everything. And it's so funny because I remember this was years ago. I'm talking about like maybe 20 some years ago. And as I hit the mic, and I just remember when because Titus used to live up the street from me in Inwood,
Oh.
and we were, pretty good friends then. And I just remember him saying to me, he was at my house, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm starting this new reading. It's something about some show with the Beach Boys. I don't know." Like, and it just seemed like ever since then, everything just skyrocketed.
Yep,
And he
yep.
has just been on an amazing journey. Seriously.
Uh-huh.
It's been
Just
awesome.
just unreal. Unreal to watch
Right.
him grow, and you knew him before I did, and just to hear about this guy and then to meet him and then
Right.
to work with him on projects and know him, and it's like I feel like it's been a win for me too because
Yes.
he won. He's winning,
Right.
and I
Oh,
love to be a part of that.
I love that. And let me tell you something, y'all. Angel has probably one of the best voices I've ever heard in my life. Beyond her
Um,
just being an amazing and genuine person, like chills, like all the feels that you could possibly experience from a voice, Angela has that. Like I've never I remember, I mean, this was like years. years ago. We were
Because
at
girl,
some
we go way back. We've
way
been in this
back.
thing a long time.
Right. We were at an audition. I think it's the first time we met. We were at an audition at like Shetler Studios. Remember
Yep.
that creak, that rickety staircase?
Yes.
God
And
bless.
that tiny, tiny elevator that everybody used to
Yeah.
squeeze on. Oh,
I was like, "What is this?" But anyway, I remember you going in to sing. I don't even. I think it was like Once on This Island. The fact that I can remember
probably.
this, I can remember things from long ago, but like yesterday, girl, forget it. But like, but I remember you went in that audition room and you started singing, and I was like, "Wait!" I was like, "What? What?" I was like, "This is unbelievable!" Like I just, and I tell you this all the time. But it's just like, and anytime I see any social media stuff of you, and if I'm with someone, it's like, okay, wait a minute, stop. You got to listen to this. You have to listen to Angela. They're like, you know her? It's like, yes. It's like, isn't that amazing? Like, I know her. It's unreal. But all that to say, thank you for you, right?
Oh.
Seriously, and the gifts that you offer by way of your voice and just being a good friend and just a good person. Like, just so
Oh.
genuine. I love that about you.
Oh,
Seriously.
and same, like you have always been so, so kind. It's kindness is hard to find these
Yeah.
days, and the world is kind of a mess and has been for a while, but it just really brings me joy when I can touch base with my friends that I might not see you or talk to you all
Right.
the time, but I know I can talk to her and I feel safe and I'm gonna walk away with joy. And it's
Oh,
every time I talk to you. And
oh,
you're
I
so
love you.
inspiring and so talented. Ugh, thank
Thank
you for
you.
being you. And thank you for inviting to talk to me. I mean,
Yes.
inviting me to talk to you today. Your journey with MS and our conversations and me watching your changes in your life really have inspired me. And really, you came along at a time at least with the MS where I felt like, okay, this is not my life has to totally change. And, you know, people are functioning and doing everything,
Right.
you included. And let me listen to her and what she's doing because she looks amazing. She got a smile on her face and she's surviving this thing.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's what I want people to, anytime I meet somebody or, you know, I find somebody online, I'm like, if you want a proof of you can live with this thing, look at me. You can live with
Yes.
this thing. Now, like you said, it's different for everybody. Some people start off with crazy symptoms where they are just,
Yeah.
but even them, they have made such strides with just what they know about the disease that if you
Yeah.
just let the panic and the fear settle and you just remember who you are and whose you are and
Yes.
that you can speak over your body and you can speak out of your mouth if and nothing else to change your how your way you respond to it. You can
Yeah.
start there,
Yeah.
and no matter what your body is doing.
Oh, exactly. That's half the battle. Just really
Hmm.
creating a mindset of, despite it all, I'm still going to find a way to make this life work for me in the way that I
Yes.
want it to work for me. I might need a few adjustments, but I'm still gonna enjoy this life. I'm not gonna let this stop me.
Yep. Yep.
And you are definitely doing the same, which is one of the main. I was like, I have to talk to Angela because I all the stuff that you're doing. Listen, I just saw her. What was it in February?
Oh
You did the
yes.
show. What was that Paper Mill? You did a show.
That was after midnight at Paper Mill. And even there, like one of the songs that I sing, I'm up on a thing and
Yes.
I'm at a mic stand with nothing to hold on to. And people think she's holding the mic stand, or maybe they don't pay attention. I'm holding it because little do people know the moment I take my hand off of it, my legs are shaking underneath. I feel
Hmm.
like I might fall. So I've learned over the years how, okay, I'm gonna make this prop work for me.
Yeah.
And it's just people have no idea how weird this disease is, but how manageable it is. If you
Yes.
just take a moment and don't let it jar you.
Yep.
I said, I don't give a rat behind if I got the army crawl up here and sit Indian style. I'm going to sit here and sing these songs because this disease is not going to take my joy and my voice. And so
Exactly.
if I got to hold on to something, if I got to lean on a piano like I'm just giving the maestro song, but really I'm holding myself up, this a bit. Make
Exactly.
it work.
I love it. Angela, thank you so much. 'Cause I know you have to run and do the show.
Yeah.
This has been a blessing. You have no
Oh,
idea. Thank you so much for
Same.
taking the time. Seriously.
Anytime, anytime. Calling me anytime. And we still got to talk because I need some more work, some more getting even more better with my nutrition
Yes.
and things. So we gotta catch up soon.
We will. We will. All the
Mhm.
best. If y'all are in Atlanta, what theater is this at?
This is at the Alliance. I'm gonna give them all the details. Okay, The Preacher's Wife, a new musical with a book by A.Z. Dungy and score and lyrics by Titus Burgess is playing now through June 16th, Tuesday through Sundays at the Alliance Theater in Atlanta, Georgia. And you can go on alliancetheater.org to get your tickets.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome so much.
Oh my gosh. And I'll share all this information in the show notes. Angela, once again, thank you so much for being on the
Oh,
podcast.
thank
Thank
you for
you.
having me. Thank you for doing this. Thank you
Oh,
for giving a voice to Black women,
oh,
whoever else comes on that is living and surviving and managing this weird disease that one day we will have a cure for.
yes.
And we will see it in our lifetime.
Yes, please. And thank you. Seriously.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And y'all, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Eat Me podcast. I'll see y'all next week. Thank you so much.